This episode of the TV Binges Pilot Roundtable is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. To get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
Hello and welcome back to the TVBinges.com Pilot Roundtable, a Southgate Media Group podcast. I'm Kyle Tremblay, the editor of TVBinges.com, and I am joined as always by a fellow TV Binges writer. She's communicating with her past self via ham radio. It's Olivia Richards! Hello!
Hey, oh no, that seems like something I would never want to do.
Oh, me neither. Yeah, come to think of it, that sounds horrible.
That would be such a mean trick to play.
I just told my past self, stop wearing those purple shorts.
Oh, no.
Don't. That's a bad fashion choice. So today we are continuing our network by network previews of all the new shows coming this fall. And this is going to be our shortest episode because we're talking about the new shows on the CW. Do you watch any shows on the CW, Olivia?
I do. As everyone who has been listening probably knows, I'm slightly obsessed with Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. So
just a little bit. And of course CW...
maybe a little.
CW also has Jane the Virgin.
It does, yeah.
And of course, a number of superhero shows. I may or may not have watched a couple seasons of Arrow. It was the only superhero show I've ever sort of been into for any period of time. So that's a big win for the CW.
Yeah, seriously. And actually, I think they're moving Supergirl over.
They are.
The CW.
Because the CW is owned by CBS or by Viacom. And so they did a little bit of a trade. For future considerations, I guess, and the CW is now airing Supergirl, which was, I think we both gave thumbs up to when we covered it.
Love that show, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's another nice addition. And my only question for you, as we get into the three new shows that the CW is premiering, is: are you ready to get weird? Because we got some weird stuff going on with these three shows.
We do. And you know what's funny is I'm going to be a little bit biased just because, honestly, I'm like the CW's prime demographic. Like, if you looked up the audience that they're trying to cater to, you would actually probably just see, like, a big picture of my face next to it. So.
Smiling ear to ear, 2 thumbs up.
Basically, to everything. I don't care what it is. They could just, like, throw out, like, just a bunch of random words and this is going to be a TV show, and I'm going to be like, yes, yes, it is.
Well, I think from my perspective, their CW is not trying to cater to sort of cranky dudes in their 30s with beards, but I feel like we might be in agreement on these 3 shows. So let's get into them. The first is based on a movie from the year 2000 of the same name. It's a detective who is contacted via ham radio by her long-deceased father, and their interaction ends up changing the events of the past as well as the events of the present. It's called Frequency. What did you think, Olivia?
I thought this one was interesting because, first of all, I haven't seen the original movie, but I think if this goes in more of like a character-centric direction, I think that this is going to be really, really interesting. I think the only way that this show could kind of falter is if it gets super plot-heavy. Mm-hmm. But when I kind of was just looking at the preview, I think there was a lot of kind of drama and mystery and intrigue that the show can easily build up to throughout the season.
Yeah, I'm someone who saw Frequency when it was in theaters for a reason that I cannot recall and cannot fathom. But I remember even at the time thinking it was entirely unremarkable and not being particularly impressed. I think, and I'll explain this after the fact, but I think this is the best trailer I've seen this year. And what I mean is not that this is going to be the best show, but as a trailer, as a 5-minute preview that's designed to get you excited, I thought this was by far the best that I've seen. This was... It conveyed the story, it conveyed who the main character is, the character played by Peyton List, who is the detective, and it sort of established the emotional stakes, it established the parameters of the plot, that her deceased and somewhat disgraced father through some, supernatural series of events, is able to contact her via ham radio, and that she is able to talk with him and warn him about the event that leads to his death. And that in doing so, changes fate in such a way that now her mother actually is murdered. And she has to live with that now that she's changed the past to affect the present. And it's like, boy, I got that from a 5-minute trailer, and I'm looking back on all these shows, and I just don't feel like any of them gripped me like this one did. There's something about this trailer, just the way it was put together, that I really liked, and it really sold me on a show that was about a movie that I did not particularly like. So I don't know. This one really got me.
Which I think it's interesting, because I think we're coming from two different perspectives. From your perspective of having seen the movie, and from mine having never heard that this even existed as a movie, and then seeing the trailer, and both of us having been really drawn to it, kind of having different frame of references. Mm-hmm. But I think it kind of is good that this TV show can kind of function as a standalone, and it's not just going to be a carbon copy of a movie that, according to you, it just wasn't that great.
Yeah, I mean, it did what I like shows to do. When they're based on source material, which is take the central conceit and then build the story around that. From what I remember from Frequency, and this might be wrong, because again, it was a very forgettable film in my estimation. I don't recall all the stuff about the present changing. I felt like it was just I believe it was a guy, communicating with his deceased father, I think it was, or mother, and that was sort of the story. But this is like a whole, you've got the detective angle and all that. And I don't know. I found this very intriguing, and I was very interested in where it's going to go. And yeah, I mean, I think I actually was less likely to be in favor of it, having seen the movie and being familiar with it. But the trailer at least won me over enough to check it out. So this is a thumbs up from me.
Absolutely. I'm definitely in agreement with that.
So what's our next show?
So we are moving on to No Tomorrow, which I'm hoping is not going to be a prediction of the success of this show. But yeah, it's about a buttoned-up woman who falls for a free-spirited man who is the way he is because he thinks that the end of the world is nigh.
Yeah.
So I know how I feel about this, and that this is probably my most anticipated show of the fall TV season. But I want to get your thoughts.
I read that premise and I said, CW, what are you doing? Like, this is going to be a trash fire. Like, you're talking about like doomsday prepper love? And then I watched the trailer, and someone at the CW is doing good trailers, is my takeaway from these three shows. Someone's doing good trailers, because this one charmed the hell out of me. I was just like, wow, I like both these people, and it's clear, like, the Doomsday stuff is a metaphor. Like, obviously the character believes it, but there's a bigger message here that it's conveying about seizing the day and all that jazz. I think this is a wonderful example of what flipping the gender roles can do for a show, and the way that it can energize it. Because typically, the guy would be the buttoned-up businessman, and the girl would be the free spirit who believes crazy things. And I think by flipping those two roles, it makes the show seem so fresh, and this trailer felt so... And also, I think the guy who's like bald and bearded really strikes like the right tone for that kind of character. Again, based on the trailer, like it's just like, wow, if this could have gone a lot of bad directions, but based on the trailer, I think it found the one path towards being really likable and really charming.
I completely agree. And I think it kind of fits with the apocalypse theme that's been going around in like the 2015-2016 TV season, because we had Last Man on Earth and You, Me, and the Apocalypse, and I think this kind of fits in with that theme. But I definitely agreed. I saw the premise and I was a little bit worried, and then I saw the trailer, and just instantly you just had this chemistry between these two actors. And I think I'm always drawn towards kind of like the female lead being kind of quirky and maybe like a little bit messy in her life, and just trying to find, her place in everything, and being able to have that balanced with this relationship between these two characters, like, that should not work on any level whatsoever. And I'm just really, really intrigued to see where they go with it.
Yeah, this feels like the a natural addition to a lineup that includes Jane the Virgin and the other Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. That it's a show about optimism and about, a show with a message that goes beyond just the characters, and feels like what I like comparing it to those other apocalypse shows you listed is that the show isn't about the apocalypse. It references the apocalypse, and this character cares very deeply about it, but it's a show set in the present day, and the sort of the doomsday prepper guy is presented as kind of a charming crazy person. And he's not, he's not, it's not a show that really seems to be about the world ending. It's a show about what you would do if the world was ending. And I think that's a really nice setting for a sort of dramedy that this appears to be. And it fits, it's going to fit really nice tonally with the other CW shows of that nature.
I completely agree. So obviously you already know where I stand on it, which is that I need this to be on TV like tomorrow.
Yeah, so. you want it right now. You're going to the convention.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, this is a thumbs up for me as well. This one really won me over. Our final CW show, it has a trailer that I believe just debuted at Comic-Con, so it was really hard to find. I don't know.
Oh my god, did you actually find it?
Yeah, someone had like a bootleg copy.
Perfect, because I couldn't.
Okay, yeah, it took me a lot of Googling. It's called Riverdale. And this one, here we go, buckle up. Because this is it is set in the universe of the Archie comics. So we're talking about comic books, but we're not talking about superheroes, we're talking about Archie. So we're talking about, like, Sunday morning comic strip comics. But it is not as bright as a Sunday morning comic strip. Instead, it's telling a dark and surrealist murder mystery, and the creator himself described it as reminiscent of Twin Peaks. So, Olivia, what do you think of this one?
That was so many things in one sentence.
So many things!
Okay, so I couldn't find the trailer, so I ended up watching a few of the interviews from the Comic-Con panels just to get an idea, because I read the description and I had literally no idea what was happening. Yeah. I've never read the Archie comics. I have zero frame of reference. I kind of just saw that Cole Sprouse was going to be in it, and I grew up watching him on TV. Like, we're in the same age bracket, so it was kind of just like a 90s TV thing. So I was excited to see him actually being on TV again, because he was kind of on a acting hiatus. I don't know, I was kind of reading that it was going to have like a noir style of storytelling, and it was going to have that dark atmosphere, which I'm always drawn to in any kind of movie or TV show. So I think I'm kind of already excited for the atmosphere of the show. And I have no idea what to expect from the rest of it whatsoever. Yeah, I mean,
atmospherically, like, based on the trailer, it's very much, if you'll remember the Twin Peaks remake that aired on Fox last season, it's very much like that. It appears to be kind of a glossy version of the creepy Twin Peaks style. Weirdness is kind of just in the air. People saying a lot of strange things. Which is a crazy direction to go with the Archie comics.
Right.
Like, based on these three trailers, my really, like, only question for the CW is, what are you smoking and can I have some? Because these are bonkers trailers. And I kind of love them all. I kind of love all these shows. They're weird and different and unique, and they're trying stuff. I don't know when the CW became by far and away the coolest network. I don't know when that happened, but it's like comparing these to the CBS and even the ABC trailers, these are so much more interesting. Like, there's so much more intrigue and weirdness packed into these three trailers than there were into the, like, 25 that we've talked about so far.
No, exactly. Because, I mean, if the other networks are, like, cookie cutter, this is, like, that person who puts, like, sriracha and, like, crickets in their cookies, and you're like, I don't want to try this. And they're like, oh, no, you just have to take a bite. And all of a sudden, you don't know what just happened to your life.
Yeah, these are the spiciest cookies.
Exactly.
These are some spicy cookies. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea if it's going to work or not. I don't know if any of these are going to work or not. But it's just good on the CW for trying some stuff. For, getting out of the sort of procedural mold and really giving it a go and seeming to empower some creators who have like real visions of worlds and of shows, and none of these seem like cynical in a way, like that they're just trying to cash in on something. So yeah, I really liked them. This one, I'm going to give this one a thumbs up as well, just because it seems weird and different, and I want to see what it's all about.
I think I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm really curious. Obviously, again, like I haven't even seen a trailer for it, so I just want to see what the entire setup is going to be. So I at least wanted to see the first episode.
Yeah, I think based on the trailer, it looks a lot like Twin Peaks, the remake, but the problem with that remake was never the atmosphere of the show or the fact that it was weird. It was just like it was flat. And so, you know, I don't know. I have no idea whether this one's going to be flat or if it's going to pop, but it's certainly like there's nothing that I saw in that trailer that would indicate anything bad. Okay, so let's play our game. We only got 3 shows to choose from, but Olivia, which show is going to be the most successful out of these 3? Which one's getting a season 2?
I think it's going to be No Tomorrow. Honestly, I think that has such an interesting layout and setup, and I think that definitely has a strong possibility of getting multiple seasons.
Yeah, since there's only 3 shows, I'm gonna remove my self-imposed rule of not choosing the same show as you, and say No Tomorrow as well. That one, again, it feels very much in the vibe of Jane the Virgin and Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, which are already successful shows on the CW. So it feels like it'll slot right in there. What about any of these going to get canceled?
If it is the case that one is going to get canceled, I think it would be Riverdale.
Yeah, I think so too. I think. Although Frequency could go badly because I think people might have, like, they might hear that title and remember the movie whether or not they saw it and just be like, I can pass. Like that wasn't a particularly memorable movie, and so I don't really need to check this out. But yeah, Riverdale, there's just so many unknowns, you know, and it's kind of weird that there's no like official trailer out, that it was only like debuted at Comic-Con.
Exactly, it threw me off so much when I was Googling.
Yeah,
it's very like, wait, what is happening right now? Very
strange. So I'm gonna say Riverdale as well, although I could absolutely see the Riverdale being the CW's biggest hit of the season. I could see that as well, but I could also see it like going off the air really quick. So we just don't know enough about it.
Definitely.
But, all right, so that wraps up our CW preview. You've been listening to the Pilot Roundtable, a TVBinges.com and Southgate Media Group production. You can listen to all of our episodes on iTunes, where you can rate and review us. We'd appreciate that. Or find us at SouthgateMediaGroup.com. Follow Olivia on Twitter at RichardsOlivia, and me on Twitter at KyleLovesTV. Until next time.